Welcome to the Psychic Katt Show with your host, Kathleen Hall.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Psychic Katt Show. You are listening live here on 12radio.com. We are changing the way we listen to the world. Hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday here on 12 Radio. It's a great day for some amazing shows. I am so excited to be here on December 17th, 2019. I cannot believe we are in the midst of our holiday season, and it is really quite an end. I know I'm welcoming all of you. For those of you listening for the first time, we are over on Facebook at our 12 Radio page, and it is very easy to come on in and access, and the rest of the world can't see what we're saying, but we are here amongst each other. I am so happy to report, and I know all of you are following Sydney and I with her story on, and here we are a week later on her medication. And I guess I know many of you listened to the show last week, but we have been able to do some things that we were never able to before, and just like a simple, quick shopping trip or having the energy to take a walk together and things like that. So it's an amazing transformation. We've seen quite a bit of improvement already, and we have a long way to go. So I just want to shout out there and send big hugs to all of you. It was quite the ordeal. And I feel like it's a really good lesson amongst many this year. I do feel, Mark and I had a little conversation. CA and I talk almost every day here and there. And of course, we're connected and talking about getting that book done this year. So I'm saying it and I'm meaning it. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because kaleidoscopes we've been doing for many years, and for several years weekly. So I had a few messages this morning saying, "You're slacking. Why aren't you putting out the scopes?" And I said, actually, you're slacking, because we had put something at the top of the page saying that we weren't sure where we were going to go with them and that we needed a little holiday break. So for the new year, the kaleidoscopes are going to be done monthly to allow CA and I time to really get down and dirty and finish that book that we've been waiting, and that deck of cards that we've been waiting so long to accomplish through the ups and downs and everything we've gone through. I feel like now's the time. We're coming into a great place, and we're really going to get focused on that. So I also want to say that Sydney Sable, our 12 Listen psychic advisor, who is also my daughter, she's going to be taking over she's going to collaborate with me this year, and then we're going to pass the baton to her next year, because she is definitely she's here for you as she gets well. Her intuition is completely off the charts, and I want to send a big hug to her, as well as, of course, CA and I. As we collaborate, we are going to try to put something out there that it will serve so many of you and so many people, hopefully across the entire planet. But that's what we're up to, okay? So when you don't see those scopes, I know, don't worry, I'm not slacking. I'm totally here. And I love all of you, so thank you so much. Okay, one more thing. Oh, here, I have an incredibly special guest today, and I don't want to make her wait any longer, so I definitely am honored. Our 12 Listen angel intuitive, spiritual intuitive, and medical intuitive, I'll say it like that. She is a dear colleague, a friend. We're getting to know each other and having a great time. She is an amazing healer, which I'll let her share a lot about. And she's 12 Listens, one of our newest advisors, right? Caroline, welcome to the show. Come on in.
Thank you so much, Kat. It's a real honor to be here. Excited.
I'm excited too. And I know that, are you one of our I can't remember who was the last. I think it was you, right?
I'm the last one in.
Okay, great. So that's wonderful. They always say they save the best for last. You see?
Well, thank you very much.
You're so welcome. So Caroline's coming all the way from the UK to join us here at one2listen.com. So I feel, before I ask you some questions, I want to remind people we have so many people in different areas in different countries and all over the world. And it's really important that people know, because your hours are a little different. I want people to know out there that they can call Caroline. She's um, her hours are a little bit different because we're here in the U.S. but many of you are from other places. So I just want to shout that out so you remember that. And there are those moments here too when it's like 3 o'clock in the morning and you all need some help or guidance. And I think that I just wanted to share with you that Caroline is available when many of us here in the States are not. Okay, so Caroline, I'm gonna switch my direction a little bit. And many of our listeners today, including myself, don't really know everything there is to know about you and about your gifts and what you have to share. So please, can you give us, I want to start with your childhood so we can go way back. And can you tell us what had happened, what called you to this path? And can you, a little bit about your past and where you've come from? And we want to know all about you today. But let's start there.
Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Caroline, and so I picked this lifetime some parents that were really troubled, bless them. And so my childhood, I always say it was a bit black. And what I mean by that, there wasn't a lot of joy. There definitely wasn't very much love. It was very challenging to kind of survive and all of those things. Is it any worse than anybody else's? Probably not. We've all got our own version of pain, but mine was very much not to be seen, not to be heard, definitely not to be valued. And so I survived that, and then I was sent to boarding school, which I loved. But anyway, by the time I was in mid-teens, I was drinking way, way, way too much, just to cope with the self-hatred and the pain and the emotional strangulation that I'd suffered, etc. And I'm not trying to be dramatic; it just was.
It's okay. I know that's challenging.
So 15 to 40, people ask me questions and I'm like, I don't know, I was drinking. I mean, really, I did loads of stuff. I went into the corporate world and I took my first drug, or my fourth drug or whatever, was power and money. And I went really hard at the corporate ladder, and my whole self-worth was in how much money I was earning and how you thought of me because I had a good position. And yeah, that was really, really bad for my soul. And I ended up, although I loved the travel and the drinking and all of that, I ended up getting really, really sick. So that's how I found this path, was by pushing myself to the extreme and thinking that I had no worth unless you thought I had worth. I think that's the biggest thing I take from the healing that I've done, which is really sad, actually. But and then so I got really sick, and I found this healer, and she was saying to me very quietly on about the fourth or the fifth session, hey, why don't you do this? And like literally, so in my 30s, I think I was then, still drinking, by the way, my whole body went yes. It was really bizarre to me. I'd never thought of myself as a healer. I'd never, entertained the thought, but I walked into the room and I was like, wow, these are my people. This is what I want to do. And, I know that it was in me already because I picked everything up really, really quickly. I started using my intuition really quickly. I took the basis of the model and I changed it to what I'm good at, which is deep emotional trauma. I'm very, very good at that for the reasons I've just stated. I get a lot of past life stuff that comes in affecting this lifetime. But I really get now, after many years of healing myself and getting sober and doing all these things, it's like I really can sit with anybody in any amount of pain because I know it and I've been there. And I think that's where my healing gift really helps people, because sometimes just being heard or just being witnessed, I think, is way more powerful than, drugs and medication and all of this. I think just literally being seen on a very deep level. So that's what I try and offer my clients, definitely.
I love that. And they always say when two are gathered, I see so many things, and you're so right. And I appreciate your honesty and your depth and your realness. And I feel as guides and intuitives, or people who come to us for guidance, everything that we go through and experience, we tend to they're drawn to that energy, and it just proves more of what synchronicity is, and there are no accidents. And so when we go through certain situations and circumstances, I guess it has been proven time and time again, for myself as well, after 36 years, no matter what phase of life I had experienced, or where we were, where we are, or even where we're going to connect with people who are like-minded, or who are struggling, going through the same circumstances. And I know firsthand that your healing work is very, very good, and you have so much throughout time. When we overcome, I think I'm laughing about, I have to shout out to C.A. Brooks, because she is one of my she is one of my greatest teachers of real life. Why I stay, as well as all of us being in the psychic realm, I probably stay up there for, I might have stayed there for too many years and not paid attention to what was on the ground, but I know this. And she, every now and then, she would, open my eyes to something so simple and so real. And I know you'll relate to, because you remind me of the person who people come to, of course, to go to the depths, like you said, that severe trauma, and there's so many things that CA would say and do as a matter of real life. And it's challenging, I think. CA, the only reason I'm shouting out to you is because you're the truth, or how we choose. Here's where I'm going with this, Caroline, you'll understand. How we choose, or why we choose this path and this life, is not easy from day to day. And why we have to go. I mean, I told this story and you can relate, and I would love for you to share, but the perfect example for karma, or for a lack of better words, when we are here to teach or lead or guide or lead or whatever it may be, and bring people to truth, and bring people to trust their own higher selves and their higher power, right? Or have more faith and hope. And as you said so brilliantly, you became self-aware about you, through you, not other people, or trying to please, or trying to fit in, or belong, and all these other things. And so when push comes to shove, I told the story many years ago about, I walked across the street. Only I get a ticket for jaywalking, okay? two inches outside of the box, I get stopped by a police officer midday. True story, down in my own hometown. And it's like, get inside the box. You're outside the lane, Of course, everybody else, they could ride bicycles down the street in the middle, No, Cat can't go outside the line. So I get it just like that, and that's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like how, and I'm asking you to please share, like, do you understand, like, I know you've experienced things that are challenging, because we did choose, somewhere our spirits chose what we do, right? So we want to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm just thinking how symbolic that you should stay within the lines when you have that wild, free energy.
Yeah.
It's just so funny. That is really funny. No, I mean, so I was talking to a couple of people yesterday, and I was saying, like, my belief is, and you can disagree with me, I really don't mind, but my belief is at least 98, 99% of things which are physically manifesting as pain or disease come from an emotional problem or an emotional stuck thing. And this lady, bless her, she was really saying to me, but it could be, and she was coming at me with the third world kind of view, like a real, no, it has to be this. And I said, So what about your mum's problems? And what about the fact that they lived through the war? And what about, like all these other things which influence us from past lives? And I'm saying this because when I was about 30, I mean, I had done nothing psychically at all. And my friend said, I'm interested in going to a psychic circle. And I said, oh, I don't mind coming along. That sounds interesting. And I literally walked in the door and this woman said to me, what are you doing here? And I thought, how rude. And she was like, you're really psychic. You don't need to be, this is a practice circle. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. So she said, sit down there and just tell me what you get for everybody in the room. There was 9 people and I went, oh, I can, oh, this is really fun, like really fun. And so that was how I found out that I was psychic. And I think, everybody can be psychic. I don't think I'm going, I'm amazing because I'm psychic. I think everybody has the ability, and they sometimes just have to, move that muscle a bit and create it and make it grow. But I can't tell you how much fun I have. I mean, truly love working with the angels and, just having fun. And I'm just thinking of when I learned to talk to the angels, I went to Hawaii with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Had a really, really fantastic time. I'd gone there because I wanted to see whales. And then I'd found that their course was on and the price had dropped in half. And I'm like, well, that's a sign. Get in this room full of amazing, amazing people and learn all about how to do angel readings and how to do this and how to do that. And came away from there just saying, wow, I think I might do that as a profession. It never really was for me a burning ambition, but I'm so happy that I did it. And I'm so happy now that I can help people with it because, I don't know, there's something so healing about just telling somebody it's going to be all right or, helping them see the way forward. Don't you find that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that, when you're talking about 30, I think that's a really critical time for women to begin with. And that is when after years and years of hiding what I did for the most part and really that is when I really went public and just said, screw it. You want to burn a cross in my yard? Do it. You want to throw a book at me? You want to throw the Bible in my face? You want to do this? At the time, there were so many antagonistic views of what we did. And I was called so many names and I just put myself out there and found a little spot in the world. But it's funny because I was 30 years old when I stopped being afraid.
Oh, interesting.
And really came because I was at it since I was 16 or so and 16 to 17. But I was afraid. I lived in fear. And I was one of the people who always knew in the back of my mind, like you had said, it wasn't really a burning passion, but when we are meant to do something, and this is for our listeners as well, so many of you ask the question, what is my purpose? Or where should I go? Or perhaps even, and I know Caroline, you see this as well, a little bit, not for yourself, but for others, of course. A little, you're afraid because you want to do this or you feel like you're meant to and you don't know how to get there. And, it's just that it really does. I feel like trusting and knowing and understanding that it's really about you coming into a connected place with your higher power so that you're being shown that this is what you're meant to do. And for people and we as humans to have to give up that kind of control is like crazy, right? It's like, what? I got to give it up. That's when you really come into that place. And so for you at 30, even though you say you didn't have the burning desire, I would say there was something scratching you in the back of the head, because I can tell, I see that. So, but I love that because it's like, because I had the burning desire, right? But I kept trying to pull myself away from it. So it's kind of funny because I think that when you say, without the burning desire or whatever, I think when the universe, no matter how we get here and how we do what we do, I feel, it's always like come here, you're meant to.
Yeah, no,
I had so many state licenses to try to get away from this work. It was like, and then something would pull me back and forth until this is all there is.
I really want to bring something else up here, Kat,
Go
because
ahead.
I was in so much denial about who I am because I'd been programmed, I suppose, if you like. My circumstances had made me think I was worthless, useless, rubbish, blah, blah, blah. So I took the only road that I had been programmed to take, which is corporate. And it was killing me, literally. But now I find so hard is many people come to me and they're still in that. They haven't, I've been so privileged. I've spent 20 years looking for myself. What a gift. I mean, wow. So I've traveled and I've done lots of different things. Oh, it's just been really, really fun. But my point is now a lot of my clients come to me and they're still in that, what I would call a big coat. And I really had to take that coat off and I had to unlearn so much stuff that I'd been programmed into, culturally and educationally, parentally, all of that. And it wasn't until I'd learned enough that finally I could come through. And like I say, I'm so privileged and blessed that I took time out from life to really find that. And I suppose for me, that's my life purpose, was to find myself. And I'm really, really glad I'm there. But yeah, a lot of the people that come to me are still so with the big coat on and they don't know that inside is this gorgeous jewel and they're really having a problem with their life or they're really struggling because they're basically in the wrong life. I mean, that sounds really dramatic, but that's how I see it. So a lot of the healing work I do is kind of guiding them to take the coat off and become that gorgeous person who was meant to be, as it were. I hope that makes sense.
It does completely. And I love, and that, when you say you spent all those years, but really it was more for yourself, yes, but also for so many other people who you can help take that coat off or try to help them acclimate to the weather of what they're experiencing here. And I love the way you said that. And so the more, to be blessed with the ability to heal yourself and to really dig that deep means you'll be attracting people that you can, really help dig that deep in order to really take that coat off, or again, to just be prepared for whatever's ahead from a much brighter place. So I love that too. And you're very, very powerful. And I know that firsthand. So I want to share with everyone that I did have a session with Caroline, of course, recently. And a lot of things happened that my entire world now, and of course there are bits and pieces, and I don't want to put this pressure on you alone. So, but I definitely, a lot of things have fallen into place where if I look at the beginning of the year, right after that session, I am in shock. I am blessed. I am grateful. I have seen miracles in my life that really you were an extreme catalyst for that at the end of the day, because it just so happens that I have to say this. When we have healings like that and we welcome them and we open to them, sometimes we have to go crash a little bit to really figure it out, because that's where I guess we shed the coat, right?
Yeah.
But when we get up, when no matter how many, and it's so, it's a metaphor for all of you listening that are really looking at your lives every day and saying, wow, this has to get easier. We're at that point, and especially during the holidays. And no matter how much work we have done on ourselves, when someone offers or lends you a hand and offers to help you, or you come to them for help, like Caroline, of course, as a healer, it really is, and it can be a very profound transformation if you're ready for it. And so I just want to say thank you for that, Miss Caroline. And we are going to take a short break in a moment. So I'm going to come back and ask you, and I'm preparing you. I'm going to ask you some fun questions, and we're going to talk about the holiday a little bit and how you're celebrating. And thanks, everybody, for being here. We're going to take a short break. You are listening live to the Psychic Katt Show here on 12radio.com. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Psychic Katt Show. You're listening live here on 12radio.com. We are changing the way we listen to the world. Happy holidays, everyone, and I'd like to welcome back my guests, One to Listen, Angel Intuitive, Spiritual Intuitive, and Health Intuitive, Caroline. Come on in.
Thank you for having me, Kat. It's great to be here.
I am so excited, and I'm going to ask you some questions about, we have to get into a lot of what you're doing as far as your work and your tools. And I know you've mentioned the angel readings and a lot of your healing, but please share with us everything that you do and utilize as far as your tools are concerned, so the world knows.
Thank you. So how best to describe what I do? So I take the name of the person who I'm working with, and sometimes they like to tell me all their symptoms or all their problems or who they're angry at or whatever it is they want me to work on. And then I kind of park that to one side because actually I'm not speaking to the personality. I just want to talk to the part of the body that says, go to bed, eat food, run away from the tiger, put clothes on, that sort of thing. So we all have this healing wisdom in our body, and plants have it too, and animals have it. And I talk, it's like I have a conversation with that healing wisdom, and I just ask it, what's messing up this body-mind complex, or what's stopping this body-mind complex from being happy, healthy, in harmony? You know, and if it's something like chronic pain that's been there for 20 years, okay, let's look at what happened before you had chronic pain, or where does it go back to? And usually I'd say 75% of the time I'm going back into childhood. And one of the things I really like to tell people is, you know, people say to me, oh, I had a great childhood. And I'm like, I'm so happy for you. That's fantastic. Lucky you. But for example, one of the things, you're a mother, Kat, you'll understand this. So I've said this on other radio shows, but this is really where we get some of our problems and belief systems which cause later problems in life. So I'm a baby, I'm newborn, I'm totally dependent on mum. Mum is exhausted because I've been screaming all night, and she just wants to go and have a shower or go to the bathroom. So she puts me down on the couch or whatever, thinking, well, there's nothing that can harm me or anything. And she walks out and shuts the door. She may be gone for a minute and a half, 2 minutes, however long it takes. And she comes back to me. My food, my security, the person that looks after me has left me alone. And I can't tell you how many people, we go back to this point where the baby thinks that it is going to die, basically, because its parental figure or the person looking after it is no longer there to protect it. If I think that at the age of 2 months or 5 months or whatever it is, I get this thought, and a lot of us do, it seems to be really, really common. If I think I'm not going to survive, imagine how many implications that can have as you're growing up. I won't take that risk. I won't go out with that person. It looks dangerous. I definitely won't get on a bus. I might not. There's so many implications. And how the healing work that I do is I go back to that baby who is creating that belief system at that time. I seem to be able to just see the situation and how it happened and what it's decided. So this baby deciding I'm not secure. So if we take out that belief system, which is I'm not safe, and then it's like you take off the coat and then all these other coats fall off. Everything we put on top of that, I'm not safe. And it's just unbelievably healing, because we're taking out a belief system which has formed your personality, the way you look at the world, the way you look at yourself. And actually it's not true. But for that baby, it is 100% true. So
Right.
What I tend to do is go in and I'll find whatever it is you believe. I'm stupid, I'm not loved, I'm not lovable, I'm not worth listening to, I'm not safe. That comes up a lot. And all of these things that we decide before we're really conscious or we really know who we are. And then we just, like I say, build on that belief system. I'm never going to be anything. Okay, so your life will show out later on in life and you'll be like, why is my life not working? I don't understand it. And if we can go in and find these early detrimental belief systems and remove them, which is the healing work that I do, then your life can start unraveling a bit and you can start relaxing. And what tends to happen is, sometimes it happens like it happened with you, Kat, where you go into a car crash. I don't mean a literal car crash. Where you go into a situation and it has to get worse before it gets better. But sometimes people just say to me, I feel so much lighter. I feel less depressed. It works really well with people who have a lot of anxiety and that sort of thing. So basically, I read the body, I find where the problem is, we take the problem out, and then the body decides how it's going to rewire, rebalance whatever it is, whatever's left. Does that make sense?
Yes, completely. Definitely. And I understand, because everyone's going to be different, and everybody, I think it just takes it's really a matter of being open to receive and open and right where that starts. I think for any healing that we do and we experience, if we're open and ready, I do believe, and especially you as a very significant healer and with an ability that just is coming from such an authentic and real place within you. I really do believe that it's an experience that can really help change somebody's life. So I love that about you. And we want to know some more things about you too, because I want everyone listening to get to know all of you.
Thank you. So like I said, I was in corporate till I was 40. I'm now in my 50s. So I spent a good long time, what I call messing around, but actually it was looking for myself and finding myself. So and then on my 50th birthday, I decided I was going to start gardening, which shocked me nearly as much as learning to do the psychic work. And I'm passionate about helping people. So I'm setting up a market garden. But as you know, Kat, I lost everything in a fire 18 months ago. So I'm really starting from scratch. But hey, I actually quite like that story. I think it's going to be more significant because I've had to work from nothing. So I'm really looking forward to it. But I'm setting up a market garden and I'm growing fruit, vegetables, medicinal herbs, flowers. And then I'm going to set up a care farm, which is when people with PTSD, anxiety, depression, stress come and work in the garden.
How nice is that?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And it's been proven scientifically that it can relieve your stress. It can help you get off your meds. It can build your self-confidence and all these things that people with those sorts of mental health issues really genuinely struggle with. It can help you with team building. It's great to be outside. And then, of course, I'm going to be feeding them fantastically freshly grown food with no pesticides. So I'm so excited about it.
That is fantastic. And this is the first time I'm learning about your mission as well. And I think I wish you would come to Florida and do it here, because so many people need that. And so I'm sure all over the world, it's such a fabulous idea. And as far as, you have to, I think I love it, not only because of the significance or the metaphor of our healing and the growth that we do, or we weed the garden, or we use these things a lot as far as the metaphors of our everyday life. And when people have those issues, getting out in nature, putting your feet in the dirt, your hands in the dirt, and really seeing growth, I feel like it's such an amazing, that in itself is so healing. I think that's a fantastic idea. I love that.
But also what's really ironic to me is I have nomad blood in me. I definitely have gypsy blood in me. I've been to 69 countries. I've never sat still for more than 10 seconds. If I was in the perfect marriage to this point anyway, before, I'm sure I would have gone at one day, need to go, and I've just been like that my whole life. Now I've got 1,000 things that want to grow roots into the soil.
I love that.
So funny. The universe is just having a really good laugh at my expense, but I truly love it. And it's been so helpful to me after the fire. I had 3 months and I said to myself, lots of people stifle down their grief. I was like, oh no, here she comes. And I was in a garden where no one could see me. There was no one around apart from some poor cows that had to listen, but I wailed and I screamed and I cried. And I really didn't, this woman, so I went to a psychic circle and this woman sat next to me. She said, oh, that happened to me a year ago. And I still cry every day. And I just heard in my head, you're not going to do that. And I was like, oh no, I can't hold on to this. It was so dramatic and traumatic and horrible. So I just let it all out. And I found out, for myself, how amazing it can be to be in the garden. So once again, I'm really blessed. So yeah, it's cool being me sometimes.
I love that. And we're doing the opposite, because I've been here in my home. Diana, I'm shouting out to you. Diana's been away from me for a few weeks. It feels like 20 years, but I love you and I miss you. So I see you in the chat room. Diana's my dear friend here in town, and she would attest to the fact that I have sat in this house and my previous home. We're doing exactly the opposite, and I believe we're born in the same year. Is that correct?
We are. Did we not say we were 3 weeks apart?
Yes, exactly. 3 weeks. So you were all over. I'm going to become the gypsy and you become the homebody and the gardener. I love it, because it's so funny, because we'll do the exchange now, because I have been home year after year after year. I was afraid to. For many years, I didn't walk into a grocery store, which is very true. And now I've gotten that far. So, and I'm excited about traveling when the house is gone. And instead of selling the house, it's been on the market for quite some time. I decided to redo the entire thing before I sold it. So I have 2 more things to do. So it's kind of funny how we're reversing those tables there a little bit. And I think it's great, because it motivates me to travel.
Hey, do come visit. Yeah.
I will, for sure. I'm excited. But and I think it's funny, the garden and being able to heal. I have a funny feeling that you're going to go another step further with that concept. So we'll talk about that later. And I do feel like it's the beginning of a really amazing path and a new journey for you, and some new creations coming out of that also. So so we learned about your gardening and your mission and your gifts. And what do you do in your downtime? What do you do just for simple, without purpose, or just for, I know the garden has a huge purpose. Your work has an incredible purpose. Is there anything that you do that is just simply for no reason?
No. I have 1,000 plants, and then I spend loads of time on 1, 2. Listen, at the moment, I have no time whatsoever. I love to walk outside. Food is I'm Cancerian, so I love good food. Cooking it, eating it, going out. I've been up in this place for a year, so I'm still making a network of people, but I'm also Saggy Moon. I don't know if you are, and
I'm Aries moon. We both have fire moons.
Okay. Well, I love to learn. So I'm a massive YouTube gardening learner at the moment. I've got masses of gardening books. I've become a bit one focused, which is, does not make Caroline very much fun. But yeah,
that's not true. It's called OCD. Do you know that we have said for years and years? Yeah, I have been cultivating a new garden, Diana's saying, to share with you. So I planted a new one too, but in a new garden. I get it, Diana. Thank you for that. But Caroline, we have to be OCD in some way, shape, or form in order to have the gifts, or to really be able to share with others, because we have to have that focus and that drive. And it just goes to show you how talented you are, because one of the key, and we used to joke about this. I remember, Mark, back in the day when I used to visit Denver with everybody, and CA and Mo and everybody out there, Kay, and all of you who I'm not remembering in this moment, but there are so many. Kathleen, I've met so many amazing advisors out there, and we used to sit around, and we, that topic of, if we're not OCD, we don't really get to in some way, our mind has channel vision, because we have to get to the truth, or we have to get to the healing, or the core, or the root of the problem. And that's exactly what you're doing in your gardening. So that's fantastic.
Can I just share a quick message that I'm getting? Is that all right?
Sure.
So it's really interesting because they're showing me like 100 people with great big coats on, and they're saying, it's Christmas, take your coat off, go and some fun. So maybe that is about just maybe this is a great time of year to take your coat off, especially, I'm part of this club, but going home for Christmas is not, I don't know what the word is. I need to use it. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. I'm obligated, and I have other members of my family that I love and adore, and I try and be the best version of me that I can in a family situation. I'm not saying I'm very successful, but I do try. And so again, when you get triggered or when something really upsets you, it's a great opportunity to go, thank you, you arrogant.
Go ahead, say you're allowed to say anything here.
You're so showing me another bit of myself that I need to, and I meet my 13-year-old stroppy teenager regularly when I go and meet my mother, and I don't know how to stop her. But
I love the way you say that.
Say that again.
True.
Yeah.
I love the way you just said that. You meet your 13-year-old self, basically.
Oh, she's so angry.
I understand.
But, and that's a great way to now have a more adult conversation, because I can see that that's coming, and say, okay, why don't we do this a little bit differently? Why don't you talk to me, let it all out, and we'll try and, because my mum can't change, bless her.
It's so funny.
Changing.
It's very interesting. We're on the same path, the same page. And this is so, I think during that Cancer moon a couple of days ago,
yeah,
I had spoke to my mother, and it's really the same conversation. And I said the same exact thing you said that night, because she could trigger me in the deepest way since I was 6 years old, whatever our experiences are. And this is the very first time I didn't snap.
Wow,
I didn't say shush. I didn't say, oh, here we go with the same story, the checks in the mail kind of thing. I was like, okay, you know what, Mommy, I love you. And I went into that little girl in that moment saying, there is no way I'm ever going to change this. So deal with it. And just saying, Mommy, I love you. Going back to that little girl, that little naive, not knowing or understanding who she really was and what her trauma was and the things that she could not overcome. And I did. I love that you said that and shared that, because it was so very true and real. And there were a few other people who had come this week to me for guidance that had the same experience. And everyone was talking about it all at once. And it was like, I guess it was a mom week with that Cancer moon cycle we went through. You know what I mean? But I'm excited for you to at least this time, how when you go and you have a different mindset and your center is so, like you said, with the fire, it is profound what you have overcome. And you and I had shared this in conversation, your ability to rise above that burning, like it was such a metaphor for how your entire life had been. And you rise like the phoenix, right? So, I mean, it was amazing. And now you go to your mom with a completely different mindset. And
I planned to go to my mom with a different mindset. Whether I achieve this sainthood that we're talking about, whether or not I can.
Okay, Mother Teresa would do it. No, I'm teasing you.
But no, it's cool. It's really cool. And each time I come across this, or I'm talking, say I was talking to myself as a client, I'd be like, why would you put yourself through that? Why would you keep having the same argument, reacting the same way? Why don't you try, what's the easiest way for you to find a compromise or to walk away? Or, so it's really about, so I need to swallow my own medicine here, definitely, but I'm really aware of it this year. So I've got my fingers crossed.
We're going to all cross our fingers for you too, because I know I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to find out what happens through all of that. And I do feel that there's always a blessing. I think when we come I've had to come out of my comfort zone so many times this year for so much of the same reason, my past. And up until even this weekend, and I could finally say I have a brand new life and brand new people and brand new things. And it took so long. And I know, going through such transformation and the things that you have to share with the world as a healer. And that was a pivotal point. Our connecting had been pivotal at and I had worked on these things for years, 2.5 years of probably challenge after challenge after challenge, and then coming to a place where probably a half a dozen miracles hit me in the head in a week. And good reminder for you and of course all of you in the chat room. I don't care how, and I know, Caroline, you have something to say about this, no matter how thick your coat is, I'll say it like that with you, right? I mean, you could just take it off in one swoop, and that's what I feel like happened. So even though it was like wearing 150 layers of clothing and then not being able to get the damn last one off, and then bam, that's what happens when we connected. So I think that's really great. You're great.
I just want to say I was so made up for you about Sydney and the whole drug thing, and I really hope this is what she needs. And
she's doing great. Thank you.
You're welcome. So basically, I just want to say a bit of a plug. What I seem to be really good at is people who have PTSD, chronic fatigue, the C word, which I can't say, depression, anxiety, grief, stress of any description, fertility issues, diabetes, heart disease, all those sorts of things. It's not that I can say, and I can get rid of them for you, but what I can do is help your body get rid of the emotional baggage, and we've all got some, and it's all different flavors, but the emotional baggage and the charge that is around what's causing your illness. Because for me, illness is an indication that something is really stuck in your body, and if you've had it for a very, very long time, it may take a little bit longer to unplug that hole. But seriously, it's about, just like Kat's saying, just taking off as many layers as you can. And maybe this is a great time of year. I loved what the angels gave me. Maybe this is a great time just to look at what and go into the new year and buy a new coat, for goodness sake. So that's me. And I can also work on horses, dogs, birds, groups of people, like a business can have a session. It's a phenomenal, I love what I do. And I'm so nosy, and everybody's different, like you said. So yeah, it's really fun.
And I'm sure that I know you're over at 1-2-Listen. You want to share some of your hours with us too?
Yeah, so for me, 2 p.m. Pacific is 10 p.m. and that's about the extent of where my brain can carry on doing readings. So anytime, it depends how much I'm doing in the garden, but usually I'm on from, let's say, I don't know how to do it. My brain stopped working. But I try and be on the same 3 or 4
That's a theme this week too, Caroline.
That's really
You're so psychic, you don't even know it.
But you can book email-based readings. The healings are all as email-based readings. I can definitely, if you ring me, I can definitely scan your body and tell you what I think is wrong. But the healing work all works on an email-based thing. And just to say, I'm part of the Brit Pack with the lovely Erica, and I'm running a special offer on a time-based session. So do have a look at my profile, Caroline Nettle. We're doing that the whole of December. So that's just a bit of a special offer and our holiday gift to you.
That's wonderful. And everybody, I am going to be so excited next week. And Caroline, first, let me just say, thank you so, so much for being my guest today. I'm really, really excited to watch and see what you do out in the world. And I love, not only do I love that you're here with us at 12listen.com and 12radio.com, but I'm really, really excited about the garden, and I think it's so spectacular that you're digging your heels in that dirt and helping people in that way. It's so sweet and so unique. I feel that you're taking that on. Everybody, next week I am going to come to you on Christmas Eve morning. And I am going to do a little bit of a blessing and gratitude show, and of course answer your questions for readings in the chat room. I know I took a little break, but we're going to come back full throttle next week. We're going to have some fun, and I'm excited to share the pre-holiday it's actually one day before Christmas I'll be back. So I'm really super excited to just show some gratitude for the holiday. Okay. All right, everybody. Big hugs to all of you. Caroline, thank you so much. You can find Caroline over at one2listen.com.
Thanks
And of course,
for having me.
go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me, and big love to everyone. Happy Christmas.
You're so welcome. Thank you. And everyone, for those of you who do not know her, please stay tuned. And for those of you who do, I know you love her as I do. It is, please stay tuned for the amazing C.A. Brooks coming up next for Simple Tales, followed by the rest of our amazing Tuesday lineup. Thanks so much for being with Caroline and I, everyone. And thank you, Scott Weaver, for everything. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye now.